Good luck on your errands Monday. Crush it. So it's about a 75-minute practice we've got going on here. Feel free to practice at your level, at your speed. Nothing has to look any specific way. You should just feel good in your body. You should feel better stepping off your mat than you did after. You should feel better stepping off of your mat than you did stepping on. Words. Wow, we're gonna just roll through class today and do the best that we can. Rob, it's adorable. Right, the narwhal thing is adorable. I agree. It is very, very cute. Okay, so we're gonna get started seated here. Okay, so you might be sitting on a chair, and that's just fine. Oof. If you're seated on the ground or on top of your dog, this is also acceptable. If sitting cross-legged like this in Sukhasana, this is called in Sanskrit, Sukhasana, easy sitting pose, brings any pain to your lower back where you feel like you have to hunch to be in this position, then just sit your hips up on top of a blanket or a pillow, and that's going to alleviate a lot of the pressure that you're feeling in that lower back and give you a better opportunity for posture. So chest comes up over heart. No, rather, good morning, Richanie. Good morning, Bodhi. She says hi, Lucy. Everyone says hi to you. Hands come to rest on the knees, either palms down to ground down or palms up to give and receive energy if you feel you got a little extra to give today. Eyes can close if that's comfortable. If not, lowering them to a soft gaze in front of your legs is just fine. We'll start with 3 cleansing breaths. In through the nose, shoulders rise up towards the ears, and out through the mouth, an audible sigh as the shoulders drop away. And allow the breathing to continue just in and out through the nose if that's available. And we'll take a moment here to arrive. Let go of everything that came before and everything that's to come up after. And just become present to yourself here in this space, here in this moment. Beginning to allow sounds into your awareness. Perhaps the sound of passing traffic or rain hitting the pavement outside your window. And the sound of a pet or a roommate shuffling within the apartment. And letting all sounds in, all part of this moment, this experience. Notice the temperature of the air on your skin. And feel the weight where your body makes contact with the ground below you. The weight of your hands on your knees. And begin to scan the body from head down towards toes. Like passing through an X-ray machine, scanning for any points of tension or sensitivity, any restlessness or fidgeting. Just taking note to work into those spaces that call out for your attention. And actively pressing into, working into those areas throughout your practice today. And shifting that awareness from Annamaya Kosha, the physical body, to Pranamaya Kosha, the energetic level. Where are you at in this moment on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 being exhausted, fatigued, ready to crawl into bed. 10 being so full of energy it's hard to sit still. And shifting the attention up to the breath. No need to change it, just observe. Inhalations, exhalations, and whatever space in between. And bring that awareness up to the mind, Manomaya Kosha. Allowing thoughts and emotions to arise naturally without engaging with them. Just observe it from a distance, like an image being projected onto a screen. And just notice, what are the quality of the thoughts today? Do they have a positive or a negative tilt to them? Are they ruminating on the past or attempting to predict the future? Not right or wrong, not good or bad, just something to notice. And bring that awareness back down to the breath. This time actively expanding the breath with each inhale, inhaling a little more, sipping in a little more air. And every exhale, let something more go. Inhales fill belly like a balloon, expanding, inflating. Exhales draw belly button in towards spine, deflating. Inhale fills belly and ribs with air, ribs expanding out to the sides. Exhale releases ribs and belly. Inhale fills belly, ribs, and chest. Whole upper back and chest up to the collarbones fills. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly. Breathing like this from bottom to top. 360-degree breath. Exhaling top to bottom at your own breath's pace. Seated up tall in the spine. Space between top and bottom teeth as the jaw hangs heavy, whole face is relaxed. This Dirga Pranayam 3-part breath helps us build a relationship with that breath so that we can use it as a tool to calm any anxiety or fear we're feeling and help us move from the sympathetic fight or flight mode into the parasympathetic rest and digest mode. On your next exhale, no rush to get there. Just release any effort from the breath, returning to your natural pace. Perhaps slower, more even after that pranayama. And hands come to meet at heart center, palms pressed together in Anjali Mudra, thumbs pressed into sternum, no space between the fingers. Consider here setting an intention or a dedication for your practice. It might be the sankalpa, the heart's desire you've been working with all year, or something new might inspire you today. And we'll seal that intention with the sound of Om. First, a cleansing breath. Relax your hands to your lap, chin drops towards chest. And then an inhale, left ear rolls over towards left shoulder. Exhaling, chin to chest. And right ear towards right shoulder. Just allowing the head to roll side to side. Good morning, Oya Hydrangea. Welcome to class. So we're just bringing movement into the body, nice and gentle. And the next time the head rolls through center, bring it up to neutral and begin to roll the shoulders forward. Your eyes can even be still closed for this if you'd like. There's really no wrong way of doing it. We'll roll the shoulders back, opening up the chest. The great graphic studio. Oh, RBG, great graphic studio. Hello, good morning, welcome. So we just finished our grounding meditation. We're just starting to move our bodies. It's morning here for me, so I respond to chat, but just not during meditation, but now we're moving, so I do my best to answer questions, answer chat when we are in our asana portion of class, which is now. So you came at the perfect time. All right, releasing that circling, hello baby. Or inhale, arms sweep up overhead, nice and tall. And exhale, bending over to the right. Right hand releases down, left arm reaches over for a side bend, opening up the side body. Inhale up through center. And exhale over to the left. That right hip is glued to the ground. I'm here to help in case you need any. Thank you. I am not helpless, but I appreciate the support. Inhale up through center. No, I do appreciate the offer. I'm messing with you. So we're following our breath here. The speed of the body is matching the length of the breath. So if you feel yourself waving from side to side real fast, do what you can to slow down your breath. So we try to deepen and slow the breath. And we'll take a high twist to the right on this next exhale. Left hand lands on right knee, right hand lands on the ground behind you, or the chair behind you. And inhale back up through center. Do you need a logo design for your Twitch and the intro? Exhale to the left. I don't actually. I'm an illustrator full time. Just teach yoga because I love the community and I've been practicing for 17 years, so lonely, it's quarantine. Exhaling to twist, but I appreciate the offer. But yeah, I'm actually a freelance illustrator. Yeah. Is that the services that you provide? Bring it back up through center. Let the elbows bend and hands come towards the ears. Start to warm up the hands, and if you are a graphic designer, these are going to be some great moves for your wrists and help alleviate any pain, and also try to ward off carpal tunnel, all that other stuff. And hands come down, fingers are wiggling side to side. So don't move the elbows, just the hands. So just warming up the ligaments before we get into some deeper wrist work later today. Yes, but much more than a graphic designer. Beautiful. I'm much more than an illustrator. I get it. All right. Then palms flip towards the sky, fingers spread wide, and we're going to rotate the hands. Highly skilled in logo design, animation, social media, Twitch overlays, alerts, screens, transitions, emotes, and badges. Your skill set is perfectly created for Twitch. I love it. That's great. Sound like a good friend to have. So here we're really pressing the hands back and trying to stretch out the whole front side. So you should actually feel your forearms begin to fatigue a bit here. 3, 2, 1. And then shake off water, just nice and gentle. 3, 2, 1. Legs come out in front. We'll spread and scrunch the toes. Roll out the ankles. I do video editing and compositions too. Good for you. Change directions, so we're just waking up the lower legs here. So skilled, must be busy. All right, let's bend in the knees, feet come nice and wide. We'll drop the knees side to side, waking up the hips. Yeah, I agree with Rishni. Come take a break, come stretch it out. All that editing, all that is usually done in the same position. So here, we just get to make some new shapes with the body. If you spend all day sitting at a desk or in a chair, this is like the anti-sitting in a chair class. Undoing some of that. It's night over here. Don't worry, it's a night. This is an early morning class for me, so it'll be pretty gentle. We got some other European friends up in here that come here for their nighttime practice. Shift this up. Next time the knees fall over to the right, left hand comes down to the ground behind you, and we'll sweep the left arm up, lifting the hips, lifting the chest. Deep breath in, and exhale, hips touch down. We sweep it over to the left, right arm sweeps up, lifting and opening. Oops. Exhaling down through center. And up and open to the right. So once again, we're connecting this to the breath, and we're just slowly opening the hips, the chest. It doesn't have to be your deepest back bend ever of your life. It's just going to be the deepest back bend of this class so far. We've got once more to each side. Back through center, let both knees drop over to the right. Go. Hands come down to the ground, and then we bring the knees underneath the hips for our tabletop pose. On an inhale, belly drops, hips and chest rise for cow pose. And exhale, rounding in the spine, chin tucks towards chest for cat. Just some light over here. So we're connecting that breath to the movement. Inhaling, up. Hands press down and back. Knees are pressing down and forward like you're trying to scrunch your mat together to open up the front side body. And exhale, rounding in the spine. Hands press down and forward. Knees press down and back for grip, for leverage, to really round in the spine. Following the breath. In to rise. And out to round. And then back to center. I'm going to turn to face you guys so you can see what I'm doing. Our next move here is to lift up the right leg out to the side. And then it's like a slow motion side kick. Bring that knee in. Actually, let's warm up the hip a little bit more. Lower onto your left forearm. And the right knee is making big circles. So we're just bringing you to warm up the hip a bit, lower back, and change directions. Mike Solo on Facebook. Hello, good morning. All right. Going back onto hands and knees. Now the right knee opens out to the side. It's a slow motion side kick. Bring the foot in towards, back in towards the hip, and the knees come into alignment with one another. So I'm not even like touching my knee onto the ground. I'm just letting it tap the left knee. It opens back up to the side. And a slow motion side kick. Mindful here that when you do this, it's very tempting to shift your shoulders over to the left, but we're just going to keep them over the hands to the best of our ability. And it's all nice and slow. Really building up this side, medial glute, and hip strength. Heel comes back in. Our knees tap. We just got one more like this. Do that. And then slow motion, foot comes down to the ground. Walk the hands into the body to come up to a half kneel. So I'm pressing into the pinky side edge of my right foot, left hips over left knee, and arms sweep up overhead on the inhale. Exhale, we bend over to the right. I'm not putting any weight on here. If it's tempting to press down on the knee, I just bring my hand across my hips here. I'm holding onto my hip bone here. And I'm reaching, keeping my chest nice and open. This is gate pose. G-A-T-E. Deep breath in, reaching with fingertips. And exhale, it's a cartwheel or a half cartwheel down to the left. And an adjustment of the screen. Alright, so my hands are stacked on top of one another. So it goes bottom hand, shoulder, shoulder, top hand. Then press through the heel of that top leg, and we're going to lift it up, which looks deceivingly simple. We're engaging this whole side body. So I'm pressing through the heel, shoulders away from the ears. Full breath here. Gently float that foot down to the ground. Top hand comes down in front of you. Walk both hands in front, just like tabletop pose. And then we're just going to press forward and back, giving that inner right hip a deep stretch. So no wrong answers here. Really just working into that space between, that space on the inner right thigh. And locating a spot within that trajectory that feels good. It might be all the way forward, might be all the way back, somewhere in the middle. We'll hold it there for 2 deep breaths. Everything else relaxes. Just focus on bringing all of the attention and energy into that part of the leg. Hands press into the ground to come back upright. Left knee comes in to meet the right. Okay, no, it's too high. Oh, what I need is a cameraman. Do you do that, RBG? All right. So here we are in table pose. We're going to do some wrist work while we're here. So we're going to flip the hand under. Fingers are pointing towards the toes. And let the weight come back into it. I'm not sinking into the shoulder. I'm still staying pressed away. Maybe it feels okay. So maybe it feels okay to flip the other palm. If it doesn't, don't stress out. I'll tell you when to switch hands. Otherwise, we have the tops of our hands pressed into the ground. So your next step here is to notice, are your elbows straight or are they bent? If they're bent, it's okay. This is where your work is today. We're trying to get the elbows straightened. You'll know they're straightened because the inside, right? So when I bend my elbow, that's the outside, this is the inside, the eye of your elbow. Not only is facing in, but is facing forward. So maybe you're here, you're trying to rotate. It's a rotation from the shoulder that brings the elbows forward. So that's your work. You can bend a little extra and then come forward. If you feel like you're already straight here, great, fingers are spread wide. If you have one hand flipped over, go ahead, flip over the opposite hand, taking your time to switch sides. If you feel you've still got space to play, then you can lean back a bit. So we're not leaning back so far that we're picking up a hand or anything. The wrists are glued to the ground. And it's almost imperceptible. If you're doing one hand at a time, there's no leaning back. You're just working on putting more and more weight onto that one hand. So you're like slowly lifting the other hand a bit, kind of thing, just to play around with that. So either you're working on straightening out the arms, you're working on putting more pressure on one hand, or you're leaning back. And it can be almost imperceptible to lean back. It doesn't have to be as far back as I'm going or anything. There's really no prize for having the most flexible wrists, but this is undoing a lot of the damage we create, the repetitive damage that we create from jobs like graphic design or glass blowing or coding. Who else's careers do I know in chat right now? All right, we got one more deep breath here. And bring it back, forward, unflip, one hand at a time. Tuck the toes under, and then we're going to sit back on the heels with the toes tucked under. So now we're getting a foot stretch. And I take my hands and it's just, one of my teachers called this wrist flossing. I'm just making like a figure 8. Change directions. And just a little gentle shake out. All right, we've got more inner leg hip work to work on. A little closer. Okay. Hands come down. We're coming back into our tabletop pose. Whatever direction you're facing works fine. I'm just like always turning around to try to make it make sense for you guys. The left knee is going to open up to the side. We're going to drop down onto the right forearm. So from elbow to wrist, I'm on the ground. And just give that hip a circle out. It can be large or small, fast or slow circles. Just working into the hip. Any clicks or cracks, it's not a warning sign or anything like that. It's just like that we're kind of like looking for it. We're kind of searching for those places of tension, change directions, anything that feels stuck or misaligned. Kind of doing a full body diagnostic during class. And we'll come back up to tabletop pose. The left knee opens up to the side, like fire hydrant kind of thing. Slow motion side kick. And then the knee bends. And knees, leg lowers, so the knees are just tapping here in the center. Still breathing, knee rises, leg extends, bend in the knee, knees come down to touch. So it's nice and slow, like we're moving through honey. So I say slow motion side kick. Bend. Oops, see, my shoulders are leaning over. Mindful to keep the shoulders over the wrist to the best of your ability. And this time when we kick out, slowly lower the leg down to the ground. Walk the hands in to come upright for our gate pose. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. And exhale, we bend over to the left. That hand might release down, but if you feel yourself pressing into your leg at all, there's no reason to put that pressure on the inner right knee. So I just like to reach across my belly and grab on to my hip here. And I can really feel my hip pressing in the opposite direction as these right fingers are reaching. Still, the chest is open and we've got a deep breath here. We'll cartwheel the arms down, stacking hand over shoulder, shoulder over hand. Press, flex through the top left foot, and then rise it up. So I'm pressing my heel away like I'm pressing against that side wall for stability. So you're going to feel this whole side body really strengthening here. One side might feel different, easier or more difficult than the other, and that is totally normal. And we're just noticing it's not better or worse, it's not good or bad. Just got another deep breath here, strong in this posture. Slowly lower the foot back down to the ground. Top hand comes down, walk it forward. Give myself a little more space. And here I'm just going to press the hips forward and back. Forward and back, opening up this whole inner left leg, hip flexor. So going nice and slow. There's no rush. There's no dance routine that you're keeping up with. You're calibrating with your body right now. Hearing what it's got to say to you. It's exploring movement. Undoing seated time. And finding a place along that trajectory that feels good to you. It can be forward, back, somewhere in the middle. And we're going to hold it there for 2 deep breaths. So we hold the body but not the breath. Hands press into the ground. Bring the left knee in. Back to tabletop pose. Okay. Right foot steps up between the hands, and left foot steps up between the hands. Heel toe the feet out nice and wide, almost to the edges of your mat, maybe to the edges of your mat. And here we'll just bend one knee and then the other. Legs are pretty warmed up at this point. Allowing a bend in both knees for the head to nod yes. So I'm just draping my top half body over my legs. Shake the head no. And grab opposite elbows, creating a frame for your head. And here, I'll just begin to rock side to side for ragdoll. Legs are beginning to straighten a bit, but they don't have to be perfectly straight or anything like that. It's a little more free movement in this forward fold. And slowing that moving down, bringing it back to center. Release the hands down towards the ground, bend in the knees to heel toe the feet together. Big toes come to touch, a little space between the heels so that the ankles don't knock together. And then we roll let's bring it up to a halfway lift. Hands come onto shins, crown of the head towards the wall in front, tailbone towards the back wall, like making the number 7 with the body. Halfway lift for another deep breath in. Exhale, fold. And then slowly rolling up one vertebra at a time. The arms are melted, just hanging there. Heavy head comes up last. And then arms sweep up when you get there. And exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Eyes follow fingertips. Maybe the head tilts back to give the throat a bit of an open stretch. Exhaling, hands down through heart center, forward fold. Give a little bend to the knees to protect the lower back. And inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands down to the ground. Right foot takes a giant step back. Drop the right heel. So now the toes are facing the long side of the mat. Draw a line from the front heel all the way back. It would intersect the middle of that back foot arch. Left arm sweeps forward, up and over. Right arm sweeps forward, up and over for your warrior 2. So, left knee tracking over left ankle. Right pinky side edge of the foot pressing into the ground. And my hips are open towards this long side of the mat, towards the camera, right? Arms parallel to the ground. Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. So I'm looking over my left fingertips here at the horizon line where the sky would meet the ocean. Shoulders over hips, not leaning forward, not leaning back. Inhale, reverse warrior. Back hand releases down, top arm reaches up and over. Just like before, if you have that temptation to press into this leg, compromising the knee, instead bring the hand in front of the belly and grab onto that hip bone. Or that love handle, whatever you got going on, just grab it. That elbow then you can use as leverage to keep this right hip in place. We're just opening up this whole left side body. Knee stays strong over the ankle. Then we bring it back through warrior 2 into extended side angle. So the forearm can land on top of the knee here. Right arm reaches up and over. So now some of that effort has been transferred into the elbow, into the knee. Still pressing into the pinky side edge of the right foot. We bring it back to warrior 2. Turn the left toes in, and we're coming into a deep squat. So hands are a deep side squat, Skandasana. The hands can come down to the ground to help you get there. We're bringing all the way over here. The heel is on the ground. If you can get the heel onto the ground, let it go there. Then to do that, you have to sink the hips back a bit. So this heel turns up towards the sky. The toes turn up towards the sky. So left heel on the ground, right toes up towards the sky. My calf kind of touches the ground. That's not like necessary. I don't think that's even like proper correct in the textbook. That's just like what my body does, so I let it do that. So here I am, kind of leaning forward here. So I'm just gonna go with it and actually reach at an angle in front of me. So I'm letting my spine round like cat pose. I'm not forcing it, I'm just letting that counterbalance. So if not, I would fall down and sit on my hips. So I'm reaching forward for a stretch forward. Maybe with this stretch forward, I notice that my shoulder is in front of this knee. I place the hand at an angle. So this hand's touching down to the ground, my knee's pressing into the outside of the back of my shoulder, and the other side of the armpit. Oop. I had no idea this move was possible for the human body. Okay, because you're in it, or because this is not, because this is, you need further explanation. This is called Skandasana. So it's a deep side squat. It's okay if your heel's not touching the ground. If it's not, you're like up here, you can always place like a folded blanket or even roll up your mat underneath it. So with this hand on the ground, maybe, right? You can still be working on getting into the initial pose, and that's beautiful. It's totally fine. The left arm, or rather the right arm opens. So I'm using this leverage of this arm against it because I can't get that low. Okay, here we go. So if you're here, beautiful, you just keep breathing, baby. You're doing great. So here we are in this like triangle, like star pose, really. We've done this before. My toes are facing the long side of the mat. Hands come to heart center. It's going to be a little easier to balance. And you're going to do a deep squat into this left knee. Then the hands come forward. Let your shoulders come forward with it and keep your hips going down. So your knee is going to tell you if this is just like absolutely not something that you want to do. So listen to your knee over my voice. But if it's anything else in your body, you can keep going. So see, my heel's up off the ground. Like I'm kind of on tiptoes. That's totally fine. This leg's totally stretched out, but it's not so far away that my inner hip is screaming at me. It's feeling a nice stretch, but similar to the stretch that we played with before. So here's the trick. To get the heel on the ground, I tuck my tailbone under. So I'm rounding my lower back just a little bit, and that's gonna tip me back. I'm like 2 inches from the ground. Like if I were to go further, I'd be seated. But don't go to seated because it's gonna be harder for you to get up. But we'll work on that another day. So with my heel down, I have like my butt is like basically touching my ankle. Does that help? A little bit? All right, we've been in this a long time. So if you got it, that's awesome. If you didn't, if you're like here, God bless you. All right, hands come down. So I'm rolling onto my tiptoes again. I'm gonna walk my hands forward. So now I'm in a runner's lunge with my left foot forward. Yes, super helpful. Awesome, because we have another side. What time is it? Yeah, we can do this. All right, left foot steps back to meet right foot. Oh, feels good to extend that leg, or it does to me anyway. We're pressing the ground away. And deep breath in. Coming onto tiptoes, bringing the shoulders past the wrists. Exhale, chaturanga, lowering halfway. Option to drop the knees here as well. We never go past 90 degrees so we don't compromise the shoulders, and the tops of the feet flip. Pressing into the ground so hard that the hips and knees stay off the ground. Shoulders press forward. Shoulders press back, chest lifts forward, deep breath in. And exhale, downward facing dog. Toes tuck under or flip, hips rise up high. Hips are pressing back towards where the back wall meets the ceiling. You can walk the feet in a bit to find that spacing. The closer your feet are to your hands, the deeper the stretch in the feet. The farther your feet are from your hands, the deeper the stretch in the shoulders.
finding some place in the center, maybe leaning one way or another, depending how you feel, is just great. Full breath here. Highly encourage audible sighs. And the right leg sweeps up and back behind you. You're going to bend in the knee and stack right hip over left hip. That's the scary part. So we're lifting and opening the hips. The knees come up towards the ceiling. I'm keeping both arms straight. Deep breath in here, three-legged dog. Exhale, tiger pose. Knee comes in towards nose. Round in the spine like cat pose. Come onto the tiptoes of the left foot and bring the shoulders up over the wrists. Right foot steps up between the hands. It's okay if it takes more than one step. Left foot steps up to meet it. Big toes come to touch. Little space between the ankles. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale brings you all the way up to stand. Arms sweep up when you get there. And exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Maybe chest tilts back a bit for a baby back bend, still keeping the hips tucked under. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, hands down to the ground. Left foot takes a giant step back. I'm going to turn to face this direction so you guys can see what I'm doing. You might turn so you can still see the screen too, whatever works for you. But we have our left foot that's swept all the way back, stepped all the way back. Drop the left heel to the ground, setting up for warrior two, checking in with that alignment. Heel coming back to intersect, middle of the arch, and the left arm sweeps forward, up and over. We actually use a little momentum, just a nice little change of pace to get up here. Knee stays tracking over the ankle. Hips are open to the long side of the mat. If you feel your left hip just drawing forward a bit, then squeeze your glutes. You actually have to open up your right hip a bit more. Squeeze your glutes is going to help open up the hips here. Arms are open to the sides like the letter T. And the gaze is over that front, fingertips towards where the sky would meet the ocean, the horizon, your drishti, your focal point. And take a moment here to remember your intention, your dedication, your why. Why are you doing this right now? Why are you here practicing today? Then the right arm reaches up towards the sky. Bottom arm reaches across the belly, grabbing onto that right side. Knee stays tracking over the ankle. We're opening this whole side body. Deep breath in. And exhale into side angle. Dropping forearm onto the thigh, just let some of the weight go there. And crossing the arm up overhead, and then reaching towards the front wall. Just notice we're not sinking into here. We're still pressing the arm away, keeping the shoulder away from the ear. We're just transferring some of the weight and the effort out of that front leg into the forearm. So we can use tension in our bodies to actually alleviate some of the work. Breathing nice and deep here. So bring it back up to warrior two. Extend the right leg straight and toes turn. So all 10 toes are facing the long side of the mat. Hands come to heart center. We're bending deep, deep, deep in the right knee. Maybe the hands come down. It's okay if the foot's come up, heels come up. We slowly lower it down to the ground. 5, this might help. So here I am, toes on the ground, with the heel lifted. This is like the positioning of my back. And I'm gonna round like that. And as I do that, the weight wants me to go back. So I bring my arms forward and I just let my heel come down. This side. So here I am. This is also called, this is a different variation of Skandasana. Today we're working on a heel down. So as I round in my lower back, my hips go back. My heel comes down. Still, you can place a blanket or a towel below that heel. If it doesn't quite touch the ground, that's also great. And then with my heel on the ground, my knee starts to feel a little weird, so we just turn the toes towards the sky. This isn't necessary, it's not more advanced, it's just a different variation. I think it feels better it feels better in my groin, inner hip area, so I always go with that. And then instead of fighting it, trying to be upright here, I just roll with it and reach at an angle. So I'm at a 45, not even, just not straight forward, but a little angle in between the feet. And I'm just reaching, letting the weight of my hips kind of do the work. Breathing fully, because it is a lot of work for this right leg, and of course listening to your knee. Your knees are the one thing that can hold you, that you should let hold you back from doing this pose. Otherwise, it's really great for your knees. If you have, really healthy knees, this is only going to help. So from here, we have our arms reaching forward. Maybe you've noticed that on this side, even if on the other side you didn't, the shoulder's on the inside of the knee. So instead of bringing the knee towards my shoulder, I'm just going to sweep my arm open to the right. Can't go any further because it's hit the knee. And then I take the left arm and I sweep it open. So I'm pressing this arm into the knee for stability, for leverage, to get the chest open here. It's even more of a balance challenge here. We've got a full breath. I guess we got more than a breath because we spent a lot of time on this on the other side. So we'll just take one more breath. And then let the hand come down, unhook that shoulder, and then we're going to bring the hands to frame the right foot, coming into our low lunge, our runner's lunge on this side. Right foot steps back to meet left foot in your plank pose. A little space in that leg feels so good. Okay, inhaling, coming forward onto tiptoes, shoulders past the wrists, and exhale, lower down halfway, chaturanga. Tops of the feet flip, and we press it open for upward facing dog. Alternately, the hips and the thighs can touch down to the ground. Bend in the elbows. I bring my hands a little bit more forward for Bhujangasana, cobra pose. So I'm not letting my head fall back or do any of that. It's looking straight ahead or even down towards the front edge of my mat. Full breath here. Then downward facing dog, toes tuck under, hips pike up for downward facing dog. Fingers spread wide, head hangs heavy, and the eyes are open, looking between the heels, between the knees. Left leg sweeps up and back behind you. And the left knee bends and stack left hip over right hip. So hips are opening out to the side. Knees reaching up towards the ceiling. Another deep breath in here. Exhale, tiger pose. Knee comes in towards nose, rounding in the spine like cat. Come onto the right tiptoes and bring shoulders up over the wrists. Left foot steps up between the hands. It's okay if it takes more than one step. And then right foot steps up to meet it. Inhaling to a halfway lift, big toes come to touch. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, brings you all the way up to stand. Arms sweep up when you get there. And exhale, hands to heart center. Nice. We'll turn to face one another. If you have a block or blocks, you can place one at each end of your mat on the tall side. So blocks have three levels. The tall side, place it at each end of your mat. Legs come out nice and wide. Just like before when we were playing with our Skandasana. We're not doing that again, but the idea holds. One more light. There we go. Yeah, it's better. Cool. Left toes turn to face the short end of the mat.
Is this left for you guys? This must be right for you guys. Confusing if I keep switching back and forth. Okay, so we're turning the left toes towards the front of the mat. And you give a little bend to it. Arms come parallel to the ground. So I'm like in a short warrior two. And then this bottom hand, I'm just gonna go with right. This left hand comes down onto that block or maybe the ground. And this right leg reaches up, pressing the wall away, just like we played with before. Balancing half moon. Alternately, if you don't have a block and you're here where I am, hands on the ground, that's a lot, you can bring the hand onto the hip, pressing the thigh away. So I'm really pressing back on my hip to make that tension to even begin to play with this pose. Gaze down is going to make it a lot easier than looking at the screen. Take my own advice. So I'm trying to stack the right hip over the left hip. I'm pressing the wall away through my heel, actively pressing away. And I'm attempting to stack the right shoulder over the left shoulder. Ardha Chandrasana. And just resetting, falling out. Just a great opportunity to come back in. To come out, we bend in the front knee and try to gently land in warrior two. Deep breath in. Let it go. Okay. Toes face the long side of the mat. So, yes, we even do poses that I hate. Like, there's always going to be poses that I show up in practice that are like, oh, this again? And it's so important to still press through them and still revisit them. There's so much value in getting frustrated or, I don't know, whatever shows up for you when you fall out of a pose. So, other side. The right toes are facing the short end of the mat. You're going to give a little bend in this knee, almost like warrior two, and then cartwheel the hands down onto the block, maybe onto the hip. I'm transferring the weight into this right leg and letting my left leg float up. Trying to stack the left hip over the right hip, heels pressed away. So I'm pressing this left leg towards the wall behind. Trying to stack left shoulder over right shoulder because my chest wants to be facing the ground naturally, but I'm trying to bring it up so it's like I'm between two panes of glass. Nice and flat. Resetting as necessary. We're building the strength in that bottom ankle, the calf, the foot muscles. Building that resiliency in your character too, to just reset as things get frustrating. And of course, we're multitasking because we're breathing fully here. We got one more breath. And then releasing nice and gentle, bend in the right knee to land in warrior two. Bring it back through center. Step the feet in. Let's just shake that out. So, lymphatic shake part of class. Just joining now, you're just in time. Give the hands a shake out. Give the legs a shake out. Release any tension, anything that just showed up for you in class today. In that balance pose specifically, Ardha Chandrasana is no joke. Here we're gonna start giving it a hop and just letting everything jiggle. Like just bring a bounce to it. So you can give like some like nice like big hops if you want, but also you can just lift the ankles and let the heels drop down, landing with soft knees to create that like reverberation in the body. So here we're just building up the bounce, letting all that tension go, all any frustration, confusion. Sometimes what shows up when we can't get something right is this like feigned confusion. And not that like you're actively lying or anything like that, or like I'm actively lying. It's just like, I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like, I don't know how to do this. And it's like, where does that come from? Like, yeah, you do. Like, you know, like your body and your mind just might not be congruent right now in speaking. Or maybe like you don't have that, you know, that movement or that balance or whatever, that flexibility, the strength to do it, but you're working on it. Goodbye, hat. But you do now. Like, I don't know is just like a, like an automatic response to discomfort. You just want to notice. Because there are times that it takes strength to say that you don't know. When you're asked a question at work or at school, it takes strength to admit that you don't know something when you feel like you should. But there's other times when that's just a reaction to discomfort, and we want to stop doing things on autopilot. It's a lot of the idea in yoga, to live more intentionally, to speak more intentionally, even to think to ourselves more intentionally. So just want to let that go. And if you're like, okay, so like once you start getting tired of shaking, just like bring it up even more, like even faster. We're going to go into our breath of joy. It's a 4-part pranayama breathing technique. And it looks like this. It's a sip of air in, about a third of your lung capacity in, arms sweep forward. About a third of your lung capacity in, arms sweep out. Rest of your lung capacity in, arms sweep forward. And a big ha as arms sweep down and back, like through chair pose. So it goes in, ha. We got 10 of those. In, ha. Just yell as loud as you can. In, ha. In, ha. 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 2 more. Ha. Last one. Ha. All right. Letting the feet come nice and wide. Hand comes to the belly, hand comes to the heart. Eyes can close. Just take a moment here to see what was created. If you've been breathing in and out through your nose, you can just breathe however feels comfortable to you here. And just notice. Heat was created, higher heart rate, higher, quicker breath rate perhaps. But what else showed up for you here? Gave our bodies, the snow globes of our bodies, a righteous shape. Now we're observing to see where that glitter dust settles, what is revealed. What shows up when you let go. What shows up making you hesitant to let go. And gently blinking the eyes open. You can take a sip of water here. Lucy was there with us the whole time too. Wagging her tail. If you're already on the ground, stay there. Keep sipping your water. Keep toweling off. I'm just gonna rearrange the room for lay down portion. Excellent. Yeah. That's good. All right. If you're not laying down yet, you can meet me or sitting down. Don't lay down. Sitting down yet. You can meet me at the top of the mat. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. And exhale, forward fold. Hola, Roxana.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
Okay. I said
Take a look at the
Roxana
headset
and
on your
Alexa
website.
listened. Inhale to a halfway lift. And exhale, hands down to the ground, bend the knees deep, 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 so deep. Then you come to seated. Alright. The knees to hug in towards the body. We'll give it a gentle roll back. Make sure there's nothing behind you, like Tibetan singing bowls or a water bottle. Yeah, that's fine. Give it a little rock side to side. Let the feet come up towards the sky. My knees are still bent in towards my chest. I grab through the inside of my hands. I grab with my hands the insides of my feet. I'm gonna give myself a little rock side to side. This is called happy baby pose. Hola Roxana, hola tia. On Facebook, got some Peruvian family showing up. Much love. So here I'm just releasing any tension from the lower back, from the hips. There's really no wrong answers here. I like bending and straightening my legs one at a time. Technically not textbook, but feels good. And then I'm gonna hug the knees in. So this feels really good to me. I don't know what the name is. I don't even know if it has a name, but I cross my ankles and I grab onto the tops of my feet. And then that just feels really good to give like my ankles a little bit of stretch and my hips a bit of a stretch. I don't know if this is a pose, but I know that it feels really good. And yeah, so I just want to share that with you. All right, knees come back to center, back to the plan, everybody. Back on track. We're gonna let the knees gently fall over to the right, and left arm opens up to the side like the letter T. I'm gonna press this left shoulder down to the ground. Otherwise, everything's totally relaxed in this pose. Top of the hand, right hand lands on top of the left knee. No pulling or anything. It doesn't matter if the knees are touching or if the knees touch the ground. If this is uncomfortable for you because there is a lot of space between the knees, you can always place a block or a blanket between. That's totally fine. But there's no goal with this except to relax the spine for our Supta Matsyendrasana, supine spinal twist. The head comes up through center, knees come up through center. We'll gently release the knees over to the left, right onto the right, and the right arm opens up like the letter T. I'm pressing the right shoulder down towards the ground, but everything else is just relaxed. So my left hand's on top of my right knee. Bring my head back up through center, knees come up through center. And notice, is there any last movement or wiggle or stretch that your body's asking for?
And let yourself move through that now. It doesn't have to have a fancy yoga name, it doesn't have to have a name at all. Just whatever, perhaps a body part called out for your attention that we didn't quite get to today. Moving through that, making whatever other preparations for Shavasana, perhaps putting on socks, throwing a blanket up over the body, placing a pillow below the knees to alleviate any tension from the lower back. Keeping your knees bent during this pose is going to help alleviate that. If you don't have a prop and you don't feel like getting up to get one, the feet come out the distance of your mat and just let the knees knock together. So I'm using zero muscle strength to hold the legs here. It's just gravity. It's called broken bridge. And then I lift my butt just a little bit. I give a little tuck in. And then just place the hips down nice and heavy. And that's going to elongate the lower spine and alleviate any pressure in the lumbar spine, the lower back that you may feel during Shavasana. Otherwise, the legs come down the length of the mat. Feet are at least a foot apart, legs so relaxed that the feet naturally splay open to the sides. Arms open like out to the sides, maybe 6 inches from the body. And I like to lift my chest and just tuck my shoulder blades under. Nothing extreme, just a little bit so that my chest feels open and I feel supported. The palms are open to the sky, a symbol, a mudra of receptivity. Allow yourself to receive the full benefits of your effort here today. And the head is centered as well. I give a little tuck to the chin to place the head down so that I'm not like looking up towards the sky or anything. My spine is nice and long. And then the eyes can close if that's comfortable. If not, a soft gaze to the ceiling or the skies is beautiful as well. Stay here reclining. I'm going to come up to seated so I can play some Tibetan singing bowls for you. And actually lead you through the meditation speaking to you and not my own ceiling. Yeah? Beautiful. Yeah, so anytime that I'm inviting you to close your eyes, it's an invitation. If that's not comfortable, a soft gaze is just beautiful. It's just fine. It's a good practice, actually, to not be looking at anything in particular and instead just resting the eyes, gazing gently. We'll start this practice just as we did our grounding practice with 3 cleansing breaths. In through the nose, audible sigh out through the mouth. I cannot emphasize enough how great audible, dramatic sighs are. Highly encouraged. And allow the breath to continue just through your nose, if that's available. Returning to a natural pace. And then allowing the exhalations to become longer and deeper than your inhalations. Invite space between top and bottom teeth as the jaw hangs heavy. And the tongue falls away from the roof of the mouth. A symbol of Chitta Vritti, monkey mind. So we're just inviting you to take a step back, take a break. As all the muscles in the lips and cheeks relax. Nostrils and nose relax, allowing the air to flow in and out, gently like waves lapping up to shore. Eyes rest heavy in their sockets, eyelids just barely touching.
As the space between the eyebrows broadens, forehead relaxing, and all the muscles surrounding the ears, the back of the head, crown, top of the head, relax. Throat and neck release. And shoulders, and shoulder blades melt away. Upper arms and elbows relax. Forearms and wrists release. And palms, backs of the hands, knuckles, fingers, fingertips, fingernail beds, whole hands, alive with vibration, whole hands, alive with creative potential. Rest and integrate all that you practice. Upper back, middle and lower back. Rest heavy, supported by the earth below. And chest, gently, perhaps imperceptibly, rises and falls. Lungs quietly working to transform air to oxygen for the body and rid the body of carbon dioxide. Heart between two lungs, carrying lifeblood throughout the system. And they work without your express management, without your control or order. And yet you live. Belly naturally rises and falls with the breath. Housing organs that digest and transform food into nutrients, into energy. Hips, pelvis, glutes rest heavy, supported by the earth below. Thighs and knees melt away. Lower legs and ankles relax. Heels, arches, toe ball mounds, tops of the feet, and all of the toes relax. Whole body rests. Whole body rests. Whole body rests. Allow for everything that did and did not happen in class today. Know that in yoga, practice makes practice. Nothing more and nothing less. Allow your inhalations to become longer and deeper than your exhalations. And that feeling of heaviness replaced with a feeling of lightness, openness, and expansion. Every inhale brings awareness to the surface, front side of the body. Invite the fingers and toes to wiggle. Bring some movement back into the body. Head can gently rock side to side. And arms reach up overhead for a full body stretch. And let the knees bend and roll over to whichever side feels natural, landing in a fetal position. Fully released on one side, fully supported by the ground below you. You can even use that bottom arm as a pillow. Bring to mind any intention or dedication you set for class today. Or take this opportunity to set an intention now. And if that intention inspires you, take it with you off the mat and into the world. Allow it to affect you and the people around you for the rest of your day. With eyes still closed or gently lowered, press your hands into the ground to come up to a seated position, just like how we started class. Hands come to meet at heart center in Anjali Mudra. Today we worked on a series of inner thigh and hip opening postures, front side body opening type poses. The first namaste I said silently to yourself, thanking your body for the effort it put into class, thanking your body for the miracle that it is. We're all still alive. And the second namaste I said out loud to one another and to everyone that held space for this practice. Namaste. Thank you, thank you, thank you to everyone who joined me for today's practice, for my morning practice. Namaste, Oya Hydrangea. I hope you found, all of you found something that serves you in class today. Anything at all. It can be the chaturangas, make you feel strong and go throughout your day. It could be the intention setting, or maybe the little break, mid-morning or midnight break. And namaste, Richney. I'm calling you Richney because it's your name, but I'm still gonna call you Bodhi. You'll always be Bodhi to me. Yeah. Yes, thank you, Oya, for sharing my Venmo and tip information. I do, obviously not a requirement, but always really appreciate any tips sent my way. I was able to get a light. Besides all these little table lights that I was using, so I can actually see what I'm doing back there. I was able to pay the internet bill just with tips from you guys, so much love. And $5 does get you a recording to this class or any class that you might miss. Just let me know what recording you want. All the recordings are private. That's okay. I'm still Bodhi to me too. Okay, cool. Good. I'm like, I don't want to like dead name you or anything, but that's your name to me. And yeah, I'm always around except on the weekends. Weekends are kind of hard to catch me, but during the weekdays, I'm incredibly available via social media. So if you have any questions about the practice, be it the physical asana practice, the emotional lymphatic shake practice, the mental meditation practice, the philosophy of yoga, any of that, then I'm always available. Just send me a whisper through Twitch, a message through Facebook, DM through Instagram. Instagram's gonna be the best place to reach me. And of course, if you know me IRL, then just hit me up, text me. Yeah, the only day that I don't answer is Saturday. Saturday I'm like pretty unavailable because I'm just available for myself, and that's what we're doing this year. But otherwise, I love being available. I love community. That's why I started teaching this class. That's why I love being here with all of you guys. I don't have a Discord. Oh, yeah. I don't have a Discord, but I do hang out in Daydream's Discord. And then I have, like, my college friends have a Discord. So I am on Discord, but I don't have a Discord. I feel like my Discord is just this chat every morning. I don't know if I need another thing to manage, you know? Yep. Cool. Awesome. Hello. Yeah. Great. Good. Okay, if you're like talking to somebody and you're like, who the F is she talking to? It's because I'm also live on Facebook and people are talking there. So yeah. But Twitch for sure, this is where I feel like it's like the studio. This is like my three-eyed tiger studio. So much love from me to you guys. If there's anything I can ever do for you or any recommendations or requests, I'm here to take them. Otherwise, have an amazing Monday. It's raining here. I wasn't making that up when I said, like, let the sound of outside in. Usually I say singing birds. There's no singing birds out there. It's freaking rain. So weird. It's like one of not many days that it rains in San Diego, but maybe this year will be different. I might go for a run in the rain. We'll see how cold it is. All right. Monday, I gotta take it on. All right. I love you guys so much. I appreciate each and every one of you, even all you guys just lurking. One day I know you're gonna jump in for Breath of Joy and you're gonna be like, yeah, today's the day.